girls, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jules Time, and over here we have a good time all the time. Today's video is a part of my fertility journey. It will be a part of the fertility series that I've been producing lately, because you know your girl gonna be a mama. Yes honey. So the reason why I'm actually even doing this video is because I have not come to the conclusion, but when I was in the TTC community, I noticed that I couldn't really find a lot of black women talking about conception, fertility, ovulation, all that stuff. And I'm talking about black women in the UK, because obviously there are some on YouTube, but they're American based, and what they use for ovulation and stuff, sometimes you can't even get it in the UK. So it was kind of pointless following their journey when I know I couldn't get their stuff. And if I could get their stuff, it'd be charging me an arm and a leg, and a baby, let's be real honey, in this economic, I know who gonna be doing that. I know, sorry guys, my lip gloss is just not lip glossing today, but we move. So the first thing to understand is what is ovulation, because you know when you're growing up, people just say, oh, have sex and you'll have a baby. That's the main line you hear across all the board. You hear from your parents, your grandparents, your teachers. Everyone will just say, yep, sex, baby, which is, in my eyes, that is so far from the truth. Because realistically, if people were just sexing and having babies, although we have a large population at the moment, I kid you not, the population will be a lot higher. Right, so I've done all my little research. You know, it's been God putting in the work, hoping in the work, supplements and all that good stuff, why we've gotten to this. And also my fantastic fertility tea, womb cleansing tea, don't play with it tea. I'll give you a little story time why I call it don't play with it tea, because sis, if you're not ready to have a child, don't play with it, don't play with it, don't play with it. So let's start from the beginning. Obviously, as a female, you're going to menstruate. Most females menstruate anyways, right? That happens once a month. Some women get it twice a month, okay? But when you're trying to conceive, you need to pay particular attention to something called your ovulation, right? Every woman's ovulation is different to another woman's ovulation. But there are certain things you can do to understand when you're ovulating and to understand how it all works. So let's break it down. So basically, ovulation is a time in a woman's life when her ovaries will release an egg, and it will sit in your fallopian tubes for 12 to 24 hours to be fertilized by a sperm. Now, if fertilization doesn't happen within those 12 to 24 hours, the eggs will then move down into your uterus, and then you will eventually have your period, your menstrual, you'll bleed, and then that will get rid of that current egg, right? And then you'll move on to your next cycle. So as I said, most women will have 12 cycles, some women have more, some women will have less, depending on your medical conditions or just how your hormones are working. And this is why it's important to really dive into your hormones and really understand your body, and also to do a natural cleanse. That works like, you wouldn't understand what a natural cleanse does to the female body, I would say, right? So that's how ovulation really works. The egg gets released, sits in the fallopian tube for 12 to 24 hours. If a sperm doesn't meet it, it goes down into your uterus, and then your uterus lining will shed, and you will obviously have a period. However long your period lasts, between 3 to 7 days, like a normal period duration. If it's longer, it's longer. If it's shorter, it's shorter. Every woman is different, as I've said. You will ovulate between day 14 and 28 on your menstrual cycle. So you know we have a whole menstrual cycle from day 1 to day 28, depending if you have a 28-day cycle, or from day 1 to 31, from day 1 to 34. So it all depends on when you it all depends on how your cycle works. My cycle was a bit different. Sometimes it'll be 28 days, sometimes 31, sometimes 26. So it was always a bit changey. And this is why I would suggest for every woman, whether you're trying to conceive or not, it's so important to have an app to track when you're ovulating, when you're most fertile, when you need to do, so you can, if you don't believe in like the pill, the coil, you can have a natural way of tracking when not to have sex, right? So the app that I use were two apps. I use Flow and I also use Premum, right? Personally, I would say I love Premum a lot more. It was more detailed, it was more what can I say? It just gave what it was meant to give. It tracked my cycle really well, like down to the T. I would know, okay, my menstrual's coming this day, and it would really come this day. With the apps though, you do have to use them for about 3 months for them to actually gauge your cycle, so they can actually predict when you're gonna next have your menstrual, when you're gonna be most fertile, and all those stuff. So don't get the app today and think by next month it's gonna just know everything. You have to do it for at least 2 to 3 months, I would say. Okay, another important question is, a lot of women don't actually know when they're ovulating, but there are certain signs to look out for that will let you know when you are ovulating. So the most obvious one, I would say, is your cervical mucus. A lot of women don't actually have cervical mucus when they're ovulating, to be fair, because I didn't really have the typical cervical mucus that every woman on the internet was talking about. So the cervical mucus that they're talking about is, imagine cracking an actual egg. The white part of the egg, you see how it's stretchy and it's clear? Now, they'll tell you that your cervical mucus is meant to look like that. White, stretchy, and it's not meant to have no odor or nothing like that. But from my experience, right, it can be either white and stretchy. Okay, it's not white and stretchy, sorry, it's clear. Clear and stretchy. Sometimes it will be like white, or sometimes it'll be a bit milky looking. So I would say if you're getting any of those, because it is a discharge, that's what you'll see, you know, down below. If you see any of that when you're wiping, when you've gone to the toilet, you know, baby, it's go time. You know, get on the pony, do what you need to do. That's one of the most obvious signs. But as I said, a lot of women do not actually produce this cervical mucus that a lot of forums talk about. So if you don't produce a cervical mucus, other signs you can look out for is your libido being extremely high, tender breast, cervical positioning. See, personally, I didn't do that because I found that to be a bit too personal. I know it's my body, but there's no way I'm gonna get my 2 fingers and push it up my nunny and check how high or how low my cervix is. So on that one, I can't really give much advice because I really don't know how that one works. But if you type in Google cervical position during ovulation, it will explain everything. Google's like your best friend. Google is your best friend. Now, I would also say, along with the cervical mucus, the actual second best one is to buy an ovulation kit. Now, you can get those from Amazon, eBay, Pound Shop, 99p store. I found the best place to get them though is Amazon. I would buy the Premum ovulation kit, and that is because I would, you know, obviously you pee is like peeing on a stick, right? So you urinate either on the stick or in your cup, whatever floats your boat, and then you would dip the stick in. It's like a pregnancy test. If it comes up with 2 lines, then okay, right, let me try and break this down even further. On an ovulation stick, you'll always get 2 lines. What we're looking out for is how dark those lines are. So your ovulation line will always be dark, but I believe the first line that you see in the ovulation stick, right, that line can go from faint, very faint, to clear. Like you can obviously see there's a line to there's an obvious line, like it's very dark, or like extremely dark. Now what we're looking out for when we're taking an ovulation strip, we want the line to be very dark, because when it's very dark, it's telling you, baby, your egg is about to go into your tube and you need to get on that pony and do what you need to do, right? If it's faint, you can say, okay, I'm not gonna ovulate right now, it's not really a thing, you know what I mean? So the darker the lines are, the more positive it is that your eggs are about to be released. And this is why it's important to take an ovulation strip test every single day after your menstrual cycle, because you won't be ovulating in your menstrual cycle. Do you know what I mean? So after you've bled for your 3 days, your 7 days, you go on to start taking the ovulation strip straight after. So like the day after, start taking it, because some women literally ovulate as soon as they finish their period. Some women will ovulate 14 days later. Some women will ovulate 20 odd days later. So you really need to get on these strips, start adding them up and all that stuff. And this is why I had a whole ovulation book, and I would literally just stick them in so I could show you. So that's what ovulation strip looks like. It's blue typically, and you'll see the lines. So the lines will go dark, faint, dark, faint, dark, faint, right? It will let you know what your body's actually doing. And the reason why I also suggested Amazon is because Amazon sells the large packets, and you can get like, I think 50 for about a tenner, which is not bad. Considering you'll be using them every day, it's actually quite good. Some women do it twice a day, like they'll do it in the morning, then do it in the night time. Because believe you me, you cannot be ovulating in the morning and then come the evening, you've got a dark line. And if you don't test in the evening, you kind of missed your window. Because once you get the dark line, you're going to release an egg literally the next day, right? So it's best to do 2-time testing. So morning, night. It is very tiresome. And this video is literally for the women that have tried everything in their power to really conceive, but they need to get to know the nitty-gritty of how to actually get there, right? So that is how you actually track your ovulation. Now after you get your dark line, the next day your body releases the egg. You're gonna want to have sex for at least a week, because that's your fertile window, right? Because although in theory it says the egg will release tomorrow, sometimes it might not release tomorrow. It might release actually 3 days after you've gotten your peak, 4 days, 2 days. So if you use that week, because it's called a fertile week, a fertile window literally lasts 1 week, 7 days. If you just decide, okay, that 1 week I'm going to dedicate that to me and my husband, I'm almost 85% sure you will get your big fat positive 2 weeks later, which in the TTC they call it the 2 week window wait, or the 2 week wait, right? So after you've had sex for that 2 weeks, you're going to want to wait, as I said, 2 weeks to test. However, some women will show up quite early, that they're pregnant, like 6 days post ovulation. So that's 6 days since you've had that bright line on your ovulation strip test. I got my positive 10 days after getting my big bright line on my ovulation strip test. So DPO is days post ovulation, and those are the days that has passed since you've had your big fat positive on the ovulation strips. I personally wouldn't start testing until around day 8, because you can either over test and then you get quite disheartened if you're not getting your positive, and it doesn't make sense stressing yourself out. So I wait at least a whole week before beginning testing. Do you know what I mean? That is literally really it, my jewels. That is how you track your ovulation. That is how you'll know if you're fertile from your body and all that stuff. And obviously the most important thing that I would mention is to have faith, is to pray, is to keep pressing on, because it does definitely happen when you least expect it. Do you know what I mean? Because I have tried a lot of these things, but the month that we did get pregnant, there are a few things that I did 100% differently, and I will do that in my whole pregnancy story when I do one, right? I'll tell you my step-to-step guide in what we did, because there were definitely did a lot of things different. Because although I've been tracking my ovulation for months, there was things that I weren't doing. For example, the month that we got pregnant, I had a whole I made a tea that cleansed me from the inside out, girl. Cleansed my womb, my uterus, everything like that. And that's the month that we fell pregnant. I was also taking supplements like religiously that I wasn't doing before. And most importantly, I was praying every single day, and I was reminding God of his own words when it comes to actually having babies. Like, you know, it says that children are an inheritance of the Lord, the marriage bed is undefiled. And God said to be fruitful and multiply. I was praying and I kept on telling God, listen, God, you said to be fruitful and multiply. So where's my multiplication? Right? So that is it. Realistically, that is how you track your ovulation. That is how you'll know if you are ovulating, through checking your body, be more observant. And as I said, prayer, just have faith and it will definitely happen. And if you want someone to talk to, girl, I'm right here. You can always inbox me, message me, do whatever. Like, I'm literally always here. So yeah, thank you for watching. I'm Jules Time, and over here, you know, we have a good time all the time. Remember to subscribe, like, comment and share, and I will see you later.